Guys, welcome to our Thursday training call. Super excited to have Integrity Partner of FFL Agent Force joining us today. John, how you doing, man?
Man, I could not possibly be any better, brother. Life is good over here.
Love it.
Finished the gym. I had a staff meeting this morning. Came ready for training. Making stuff happen, dude.
Yeah, dude, it's just a grind, right? Just leveling up, new levels, new devils, new levels, right?
Every day, bro. Every day.
Cool. Well, John, super excited to pick your brain, man. You've got a lot of experience in the industry. And I think one of the things I admire about you the most is how practical you are and how relatable you are. Where does that come from?
You know what's funny is like when I started, like I still see myself as the same dude as I was when I started. Now, certainly I know I've improved and worked on things and grown a team. Like I'm not confused with that. But like, I don't know, I'm just a dude who wanted to do better for his family, and I think a lot of people bring great value with their sales tips and technique. And I know that some of that stuff as well, but I didn't come into this thing with like this elite ability in any sales arena, any people arena, that wasn't my background, dude. So I'm just me. And I think a lot of people want to overcomplicate what it takes to have success here. And they think you need all these skill sets, and not that you don't need improved skill set. Those are good things to acquire. And I've certainly acquired some over the years, but you don't need to come into the space with them. You can develop any kind of skill set you want to develop with time, dedication, consistency, being intentional, asking the right questions to the right people and implementing things and not being afraid to mess up. And I brought all those qualities. Like I had a desire to do more. I'm not afraid to try something and break it. And like, I'm not that perfectionist kind of guy. I hate when people use that as an excuse for reasons to not do things. Like I'm a perfectionist. I need to know everything before I go in a house. Like it drives me crazy. So I didn't struggle with that kind of stuff. So I don't know, dude. I just tell my story, man. And I was a disaster in 900 different ways 10 years ago. So I don't know, man. I just like to share my story. And I think I can relate to a lot of people because I've been through a lot of stuff in life, like most people. I didn't come from money. I don't come from any entrepreneurship. I don't come from business. I didn't grow up with a dad. I didn't get anything handed to me. I just saw my mom working hard to get us out of the hood. And I just kept working hard to continue that progress in life, and I wanted more for my kids than I was provided for. So I just try to tell that side of the story, man, because I know a lot of people have stuff. And I think we all have that in common. So for me, that's the common denominator. And then it's, well, can you put your stuff aside?
Yeah.
And not let that hold you back and be willing to. And dude, all I did, bro, was do more than everyone around me. That's it.
That simple.
Yes. It wasn't that complicated. I took all of the crap everyone was telling me to say, all good. And when I wasn't doing more, I didn't have that amazing a result. I did okay. I made more than I was making on my accounting job. But when I started doing like significantly more than everyone around me, right? The average Joe, the people in your office, the people in the trainings, the people who are on this call, some are on the video, some aren't, some are taking notes, some are watching TV at the same time. Like, right? That's part of it.
Yeah.
You always got that bell curve. And I knew from me, dude, I had my first kid on the way at 16. Right. So I was paying for diapers in high school and daycare. So I've had to work consistently since I was 16. I was working 70 hours a week in a pizza joint because it paid me $4 an hour at the time. And I worked in a warehouse and I wanted to get out of that. And I went to school full time while I worked full time. And I had 2 kids when I did that. And then I went and I got an accounting job and I went to school full time. So the warehouse I worked at night and my associate's degree, I went full time school during the day. So I'd work overnight, go straight to school. Maybe I'd get a nap in the parking lot before class. And college, you don't go every day. So some days it was different than others. And then when I got accounting, I did accounting work during the daytime, and I got my bachelor's at night. And then when I met Steph, my current wife, I was married previously, but Steph and I have been together since like 07. It was a 07, 08. If you've been around, the economy was a disaster.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I had to work 2 jobs then to make, I don't know, $500 a week take home. So to me, the consistency and the work and showing up every day, dude, I've been doing that my whole life. But when I started here, that stopped. I became inconsistent. I got up when I wanted to. I dialed when I felt like it. I got on trainings when it was convenient. You know what I mean? I didn't really ask for help. I became the entrepreneur, and I did what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. And I did this out of pure convenience. I wasn't sacrificing like I was when I was working at the pizza joint. Dude, and my kids wanted to do something, I had to say no and go flip pizzas.
Dude, it's so crazy. Yeah. So something you said there, one of the greatest quotes I've ever read or seen is, being broke, being stressed out, being anxious and depressed. That's hard. But also being an entrepreneur and grinding and building a business, that's hard. So pick your heart, right? And it's so crazy because I kind of have a similar story. Single mom, worked at McDonald's. I remember her when I was probably 12. She made $10,000 the whole year with 5 kids. Yeah. Tax time, we got our new car.
And yeah, earned income credit, bro. I know all about that.
Yeah. She never complained about it, and I learned a lot from that, and she's such an incredible woman. But then when I got married, I was like, man, I'll work 3, 4, 5 jobs if I have to put food on the table. But as soon as I became an entrepreneur, quote unquote, or self-employed, it was game over, man. I was going to the beach. I was chilling. I don't even like the beach, but I was going just because I could. And then it just hit me like, man, this is not going to work at all. Yeah. But I love what you said in the beginning where you said, I just did more. I think a lot of times, even for myself, I'll tell agents, you just got to work more. When you say I did more, what exactly did you do more of?
So for me, what I realized, and this is the analogy or comparison I always make, because dude, I've talked to thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of agents now over 10 years, right? And the one thing that's the most relatable is when I started, here's the thing. I started part-time. I had an accounting job, full-time. So I worked 40 hours on my accounting job plus 40 plus, like any W-2 job. Mm-hmm. It was an 1.5-hour commute from my house in Atlanta. On the way there, on the way back, if you know Atlanta, dude, it depends which way the wind's blowing. It could be double that. You just don't know. So it was minimum 3 hours a day in the car. And again, plus 40 hours. And then I was doing this part-time. And I was doing 2 nights a week and Saturdays. I was running appointments. I was doing 10, 12. A busy week could be 14 appointments a week, right? 8 would be a slow week. I was pretty consistent week in and week out. So call it 10 to 12 on average. Then I quit my accounting job and I did this full time. You know how many appointments a week I ran, bro? 10 to 12. But I now called it full time. Why? Because it was my only job. Does that make sense? And for me, when I do this, I do it from stages all the time. I get like again, you can do it here. Like how many people here are full time selling life insurance? Dude, any place I go, 90+% of people raise their hand that they're full time. And then when I say how many run 30 appointments a week consistently, every week, week in and week out, almost nobody raises their hand. And I've learned, like me, the definition of full time in this career is that it's the only thing you do. So for me, I changed the way I calculate my hours in this, right? And I defined full time for me, for John Wetmore. Right. And the backstory on that is I've been timed on jobs. In the warehouse, I was timed. I had to put so many boxes in a truck per hour. And I worked in a call center, taking like customer service calls, like AT&T cell phone customer service inbound calls. And it was also timed there. So when I answered the phone, a little green timer started. And when I hung up the phone with a client, a red timer started. That green timer had to be 90% of my 8 hours. If there was too much in the red timer, I got in trouble. Right. So I started looking at this. And again, I've been in the business 2 years and I was doing okay. I wasn't living different, but I was paying my bills. And I started looking at the math and I went, dude, how long do I actually sit with a client? Right. And I hear all kinds of stuff. The average is always an hour. I hear anywhere between 45 minutes, an hour and a half, right? Depending if they're new or they're experienced. So I go, let's call it an hour. Hour per sit. And if I ask anyone in the world who dials how long calling me once takes, I always get somewhere between 30 seconds and a minute. That's always the answer. So I go, cool, a minute a dial, an hour per sat appointment. And for me doing interviews, like recruiting interviews, I counted them as 20 minutes. That became my timer. If I'm sitting in a kitchen table, I get an hour. If I'm dialing a client, I get a minute. And if I'm doing an interview, I get 20 minutes. That became how I judged me. So for me to do that, I got to schedule 30, which will probably put me in 20 houses. That's 20 hours. Okay. If I make, call it 600 dials, 1 per minute, that's 10 hours. And if I do 30 interviews a week, right, 3 per hour, that's 10 more hours. That was my 40 hours. All the other crap we pretend we're doing for our 40 hours, calling carriers, following up with clients, driving, y'all count drives. Please stop that. You know what I'm saying? But all the other stuff we say we're doing, to me, that was the equivalent of overtime, just like I did in every other job I've ever had. Right? Makes sense. Then this stuff like we're doing right now, trainings, events, T&Ls, all that stuff, calling your manager for help, coaching, all that. That was like when I went to night school. Those didn't count towards my 40 hours when I was trying to barely buy diapers. But yet when I was here, I counted them. So all I did, dude, was change my threshold and how I got up to 40 hours. And for me, it became 30 appointments, 30 interviews, and again, up 600 dials. But eventually, you know what I learned, dude, is when you start doing it, you get really freaking good. And it doesn't actually take 40 hours to do what I just said. You know what I'm saying? Because my average appointment became like, dude, 30 minutes with time. And I sure as hell didn't have to make 600 dials after 6 months of doing that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And again, you start doing interviews, you get really good at them. They certainly don't last 20 minutes. But that became my threshold. So if I did less than that, to me, it was a part-time week for me.
Got it.
And I just go, yo, judge you how you want to judge you. But when I take the average agent, I could ask anyone in here, how many appointments do you run? The average answer I get from thousands of times I've asked this. The average answer is 10 to 12 a week, consistently. How many do you sit with that? The average answer is 6 to 8. I go, cool, we got 8 hours there. When I ask how many dials the average agent makes per week, it's usually in the ballpark of 200, the average guy. All right, so that's another few hours. And when I ask how many interviews a week, dude, the average answer is 0. So I'm like, if you just did the math on your own hours, you told me you work 10, 12, 14 hours a week. I can relate. I did it too. And that's your problem, is you think you can have massive success in 14 hours a week where you're actually making money and you're counting all the other stuff. I love everyone, but you're counting all the other stuff to make yourself feel good about yourself. That's what I was doing. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to go home and tell Stephanie I worked 12 hours this week. You know what I mean? So I used all these other things and convinced myself I was full-time, dude. And I can relate. And when I see someone that's doing that, and the answer is, dude, dial more. And almost everyone has enough leads that haven't picked up to dial more. I don't have the money. I bet you have old leads that ain't picked up. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So we can always attack it. And that's literally, dude, the only thing I changed was that mentality. And I went from mediocre for 2 years to 40, 50, 60K a month overnight. Like overnight, dude. It happened in 2015. And since then it's been, and that's all I teach. I will teach the other stuff, but I've learned if you're sitting with 6, 8 people a week, dude, I ain't that good. There's nothing I can say that's going to make you amazingly successful. You know what I mean? And I know, because I did it, how much you're home or sitting in your car doing nothing for the week. Because I did it. I can relate. I know what you're doing. You got 3 appointments a day. You're doing absolutely nothing for most of the day. Right? Yeah. You run 12 appointments a week over 4 days. Like,
that's I know how much money making time.
Shoot.
That's a lot of hours.
Right. Or a lot of downtime. We come home and we go, whoo, man, 12-hour day and I wrote no apps today. dude, on my timer, that wasn't a 12-hour day.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you gotta decide what your timer is going to be and what your threshold to yourself is going to be. And I was tired of, dude, I was so tired of being effing broke and watching people who have access to the same information I have access to, killing it and changing their family. I was so pissed that I wasn't one of them. And every question I asked, dude, ask Mike Killerman. I'm a question asker. I'm like annoying with questions. I was trying to find the magic sauce, dude, every day for 2 years. And I love Mark Mead. He's like one of my favorite people on the damn planet. And one day he says to me, thank God. He goes, dude, why do you expect my result with your work ethic?
Ouch.
And I mean, how could I be mad, dude? I was running 10, 12 appointments a week. So I had a choice. Do I make an excuse or do I own that and change on my end? You know what I'm saying? And I changed, dude. And I changed literally. You can change. And here's what I've learned teaching it. Everybody on here, I could teach sales stuff, what to say, objections, phone script. I could do all that crap. Right. But the reality is, whatever your skill set is today, no matter what I say, you get back on the phone, you're still going to have your same current skill set. You're not going to be double better when we get off this call. There's no way. Right. This just can't happen. But I bet almost everyone on here could run twice as many appointments this week after this call. And you'd have twice the deposits.
It's funny how that works, right?
So I just decided if I can get people to believe they can do more right away. Yeah. I can't get people to believe they can be better so fast, dude. And again, I can relate. I understand what people are doing because I did it. I didn't come into this thing slinging it. I'm not the unicorn, bro. I'm the blue collar guy who kept going.
There's so much you just gave us there, but here's the crazy thing is literally anybody can leave this call and just go do that. It's so profound, but so simple. And you are so good at being brutally honest with yourself, which I think a lot of agents, especially when they're new, are a little bit afraid of because they're going to really figure out what they are. And I always say this industry will expose you fast if you let it.
Oh, brother. Hey, life will, man. You know, think about where you're all at today in life, right? My assumption is very few people, including me, are exactly where they want to be. In all kinds of areas, not just financial, all kinds of areas. But obviously the main reason why we work is financial. And I go, I had to one day take the realization, dude, that I'm the only one that was there for the entire ride. You know what I mean? I'm the one, I got me here. And again, we could be like the agent who, the agent that like misses a sale and they're like, my area, you just don't understand. My area is different. Or, you know what I mean? Or like, oh, this lead I got a bad batch. I'm like, you got a bad batch of people? Like, that don't make no sense to me. I got every lead don't buy, but that's the reason they didn't buy? All the objections are the reason they didn't buy? No. Now we can say that. All good. But the real reason, could it be because we approached them incorrectly? Could it be because they didn't like and trust us? Could it be because we don't study enough? Could it be because we don't call for help after we miss something and get correction? Could it be because they felt our vibe, because we're desperate for a sale, because we need to pay our bills, because we don't make enough sales? Do you think that comes off? Possibly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, could it be? Of course it could be. So I went, let me own those things. Does that hurt? I don't know, dude. It empowered me. For me, that was like, that's it. I just got to change me. All the other shit can stay the same.
Yeah.
That to me seemed easy, dude.
Yeah, 100%. Man, I even think of that. I'm a Christian. I'm a believer. And there's a verse that literally says, you shall know the truth and the truth will set you free.
Yeah.
Right. And so if you allow someone to be truthful with you and tell you what you need to hear, it hurts. It's supposed to hurt, but that's what you need. So John, looking back at your growth, when you went from what you call just a train wreck to where you are now, right? To where you started building and, Hall of Fame producer and things like that. What are a couple of things you did as a newer agent that if you wouldn't have done those things, you wouldn't have found success?
I was upset. I have a little bit of an obsessive type personality. Yeah. I think a lot of us here that do well have that. I don't know if everybody has that or not, to be honest, but I kind of came prepackaged with that. So I put that focus here. Again, not saying you shouldn't learn stuff. Do you know how many times I watch Matt Smith in-home, Mark Mead stuff, Andrew stuff, Paul stuff? Dude, I study the way Paul and Andrew speak and their hand motions and the stories they tell and Shawn Mike's analogies and the way he makes eye contact with people. Like I was obsessed with figuring out what the top people were doing, saying, breathing, wearing, walking, the space. You know what I mean? I became obsessed because Shawn Mike told me something one day. I'll never forget it, dude. I'm sitting in the office. He's in our old office, Kilmet's office at the time. I'm just the part-time accountant guy. And him and Mike were talking. And I heard him say, I don't remember the context of the conversation, to be honest. I have no clue what they were talking about. But Shawn's answer was, everything I do is intentional. And for me, that was a light bulb moment, dude, to where I then started paying attention to every detail that was happening around me. And I just started asking a lot of questions. I mean, I was very fortunate to be close to Kilmet. That didn't suck, you know. Not that has to be a prerequisite. So please don't make that an excuse if you don't have Kilmet next, because, you know, guys I've worked with, most of the people I've trained that I've helped were not in my office. You know what I mean? Twardowski's half across the country, Dom's in Cali, Nick's in Florida, Athena's in South Carolina. Most of our big groups are not local, be clear. So it's all good. But when he said everything was intentional, I just started paying attention to a different level, dude. And I just became obsessed with understanding the psychology behind all of this. I wanted to understand it. And I was really poor at delivering messages. I was poor at giving information. I wasn't really great at asking intentional questions. So I just started studying, just started paying attention, man. There was no more to it. I just paid everything I paid attention to. And just with time, I suddenly got better. And then I would try stuff and I'd be like, just like in-home, you start, you know, setting expectations a little bit better in the house. You notice they respond to you differently. So I started trying things that Kilmet and Mike and Shawn were doing and seeing how it worked. So that's one. Just becoming obsessed with this business and the psychology of people. And once I understood the level of control that I could have based on the way I spoke and behaved, dude, that changed my world. Mm-hmm. I read a lot. I mean, I got a book. I'm reading this right now. I always have a book with me. I honestly hate reading, but I love the information I get from it. So it's it's painful, but I make myself do it as often as possible, even if it's 10 pages at a time. I do that 75 hard. If you'll watch me on social, that tricks me into reading more because I have to, or I can't complete the day. So I started reading the self-development stuff. I got rid of like TV, podcast, TV, sports, stuff like that. And I started putting in music. I just turned all that off and I turned it into like podcasts more so. So I'm a big podcast guy. I like consuming information that's positive. And I don't know if this helps, but I'm weird. Like on my phone, like I don't have all the like notification, like, you know, zero notifications. I turn them all off. So there's no distraction. If I want to go see it now, you can set it today where like my wife, my kids, my staff, when they send one, a notification comes up. Anybody else on the planet sends one, I don't get it. Social media, I don't get notifications at all. Zero. Nothing pops up on my social. I have to go read it. You know, simple stuff like that, man. And I wake up every day and I try to consume something positive. I have like 3 little apps. They're nothing amazing, but they're in this folder called Daily. You see, it's like The Secret.
I love that book. I listened to the audio.
Yeah, it's cool. So they got a little app. It gives you a little daily. It's like, takes me 10 seconds to read it. A little Bible gives me a literally 10-second verse. I'm not an intense studier of it, but I like to read a quick little blurb every morning. And then it's a gratitude app. And it gives me just 3 quick, I can do all 3 of those in 90 seconds.
Yeah.
You know?
So you literally just, your whole day is just so intentional.
Yeah.
You have your goals and you are just doing things all day that's going to get you closer to that.
Yeah.
Well,
I
and
love it, dude.
that topic there, I mean, emotional intelligence, that's such a big thing for new agents anyways, just learning how to be emotional. Did you ever go through that early in your career, being emotional
Oh,
in this business?
bro, dude. He asked if I've ever been emotional in this business. My wife's right there. My wife said, just in general or in the business? That's her answer, if that gives you any perspective.
Love it.
Dude,
Yeah.
I'm an emotional guy by nature, man. My tendency growing up is to be a little bit of a hothead. I didn't like that. I didn't listen real well. I would talk over people. When I was frustrated, you knew it, right? I'm not that you definitely knew it. And I did a poor job of listening, man. And I would get frustrated all the time because it was always someone else's fault. And I would be like, dude, I'm an emotional, I can be by nature an emotional wreck. I have so much control over it today, relative, and I don't know why I'll tell you this, but I will. My wife calls me a princess because I can be like emotional about stuff. You know what I mean? Like my mom calls me that. I don't know. But it used to come off with clients and agents. They used to get complaints. I definitely got kicked out of too many houses at the beginning. Because when I was frustrated and things weren't going perfect, I would pop off a little bit. I'd be kind of rude. You know what I mean? Like I was trying to be direct and it came off as rude. And with agents, I used to try to be really direct and people took it the way they took it. And I didn't take that into account. So I had to learn, man, there's a big difference between what I say and what you hear. I didn't know that early on. And so I had to really understand how different we all are as people. And that's okay. I'm not saying I'm not right. You're not wrong. It's just, we're just different. And so I've had to study that, man. I've fallen in love with like personality tests and that's all new, relatively new to me, relative to my age. But when I understood it was there, I wanted to be able to navigate that better because I want nothing but the best for people. But and this is like my style. If you are only running 8 appointments a week, right? And you call me for in-home training. And my answer is, I would have said that, and I just go back and forth with you on in-home training. And I don't tell you the real reason that you missed that sale is because your emotions were involved, because you were worried about the sale, because you didn't run enough appointments. If I don't tell you that, I feel like I'm lying to you. But I had to learn how to deliver it the right way and at the right time. And day one, dude, maybe you can't run full 30 appointments. I get it. But if this is all you do and you ain't running 30, all I'm saying, and you're complaining about money, all I'm saying, and no one's ever disagreed with me, you have enough time to have another job. Now, maybe there's an extenuating circumstance, a mom who has 19 kids. I get it. Like there's rarities, things happen. But for the overwhelming majority, dude, I have a hard time having sympathy, man, with people who run 10, 12 appointments a week and don't have another job and don't have a really good reason why they can't have one. Like a really good one. And the only one off the top of my head is like a single mom that comes to mind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's not many. So I feel like I have to tell people the truth. And that was my truth for me. So I've learned if you want to learn how I got successful, this is how I got successful. I told myself these truths and I ran with them and I changed it. And my entire world has changed in the last, it's only been 7 years. In 2015, I fixed all that, dude. And I got my license
long ago.
No, it feels like yesterday to me.
So speaking of that, we have an agent who asked about integrity. What he asked was, is integrity really a reality for anyone? And if so, how does someone increase their belief level when they're just starting out that is attainable? Because 7 years is not that long. I mean, you went from integrity not ever going to knock on your door to now you've been an integrity partner for a couple of years.
Yeah, I'm going on February with 3 years, dude. I'm 2.5 years in. So it only happened. It was 15. It was like first quarter 15. I changed. It was right after convention, 2015, 18, 19, 4 years. Then I got a deal. Right. I was watching this. There's this. I wish I had it up. I wish I could play it. I wonder. I could probably do it. I was watching this. I watch TikTok. I like TikTok. Mm-hmm. And I was watching this video, and I don't know the guy's name. Do you know Terry McLaurin?
Mm-hmm.
You know who that is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's how checked out I don't have a clue who he is. But he signed a $71 million NFL deal, right? And whoever this guy is, I'm assuming he's some kind of coach at Ohio State, based on the thing. He's telling this story about him, and he brings him to whatever the coach's name is was at Ohio State, and he's telling him that he wants to sign this guy, give him a scholarship right out of high school. And the coach brings him in and watches him, and he's like, he's trash. He's a bad receiver, and he's like one of the top prospects, I guess, high school guys. And this wide receiver coach is like, nah, dude, I'm telling you, he has it. Anyway, I don't know if it was Harbaugh or whoever the coach was there at the time. He bashes both of them, tells him he has no shot, he's a trash receiver, and says, dude, if you want to make it, I need you to go work on your receiving skills, do that, and he rattles off all this stuff, right? And the dude now has two choices. He can take offense and be like, I'm one of the top high school guys in the world. Or he can take advice from one of the best coaches on the planet. I mean, you coach Ohio State, dude, you're good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So his answer was bet. And he walked out. And dude, he starts doing receiving 200 balls a day, every day. Comes back in, does a little bit better. And again, if y'all know him, you know him. Obviously, I guess he was at the school 5 years. And now he just signed, and I don't know how long he's been in the NFL. Do you have any clue? I don't know the answer.
It's been just a small handful of years, but yeah.
So he's probably just finished his rookie contract, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm calling 8 years. 8 years of crazy hard work, dedication for someone that was already great relative to everybody else. He just wasn't great compared to the greats. But they saw the work ethic he put into change. That's what got him the scholarship, was the work ethic. It wasn't his skill set that got him the scholarship. It was his willingness to put in more work, even though he was pretty good already, right? And then he kept that work ethic. And now today, 8 years later, got him $71 million payday. 8 years of work, $71 million one day. Now, I'm sure it's spread out, I don't know how the details of the contract, but you get the point, right? And I'm like, dude, imagine if just change the verbiage and make it here. 30 appointments a week, 30 interviews a week, teach some other people to do that, help other people get paid, be honest with people, be obsessed with getting better at this, put in the work. And in 8 years, you could get a multi-million-dollar integrity deal. Dude, people would be doing backflips if I could put it in writing and show you show it on video, and you see yourself in the future. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, dude, there's people doing it in 2 years now.
Well, bro, I'll tell you, after all that, man, I'm fired up. I'm ready to go to families, man, and just help some people, dude. That's gold.
Yeah. So it's like, of course it can be done. There's people you watch Integrity. They make 2 announcements a week.
Yeah, it's nuts.
That's what they do. Who are they looking for? The people that stand out and put in the work and do more than everyone else. That's who they sign. Just like this guy. It's no different. That's life. You know what I'm saying? Y'all watch it and idolize it every day, though, in sports and movies and things like that. And I'm like, this business is the same, dude. You put in an ass ton of work, and relative to what you'll one day receive, you don't make a ton. And again, relative to what you're making today, I made great money along the way, dude. I made my whole family's lives changed with the money we made along the way. But integrity money is different level, dude. That's that second tier contract. You know what I'm saying? Like, the rookie contract don't suck. He wasn't mad at it. He was living pretty good. He had probably gold chain. You know what I mean? Like, he lived good. I lived great. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, dude. We lived great. Dude, signing, next level, bro. And what did I do different? You know how many people had the same, I've been here since day one with FFL.
Mm-hmm.
You know how many people have come and gone since day one?
Oh, I'm sure thousands.
That had access to the same T&Ls I had access to, the same CRM I have access to, the same business development meetings, the same sales conferences, right? The same Zooms. They had access to all the same people I had access to. I didn't know Mark Mead from a hole in the wall. I didn't know Paul. I didn't know Andrew. I didn't know Matt. I didn't know Frankie. I didn't know any of these guys. Dude, I went out of my way to build relationships with them. I watched all their stuff. I implemented it, and then I called them and thanked them when it worked. And I showed up to all their trainings, and I was always the dude in the front row asking questions. With time, that developed like a reputation that I was serious about doing well in this business. What do you think they all did then? They went out of their way to help me more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
because they knew it wasn't going to be a waste of their time.
Yeah, it's crazy. I tell new agents, I'm like, look, call me from the house, reach out, ask questions, because I know you're working and I'm going to want to help you more.
Yeah.
And so, John, you've mentioned a lot about asking good questions. If there's a new agent who's just starting out, or maybe they're not anywhere close to where they want to get to, what types of questions should they be asking?
My honest answer is, if you don't know what kind of questions you're to ask, you're paying zero attention to your day-to-day business. Literally zero. If you can't come up with a question after every dial and like, hey, they said this, how would you have overcome it or prevented it? Every appointment. Hey, Mary, when I showed pricing, was like, started twitching. Do you know why? Well, like, have you ever seen that? What would you have done? You know what I'm saying? Or she suddenly stopped making eye contact. What do you think I did wrong? Right? Or they went from happy to like pissed. What do you think I could have done? Hey, what would you have done in this situation? Hey, what's your perspective? Hey, what do you think I suck at? Hey, what do you think I'm good at? What do you think I can change? What do you think I can improve? I used to call Shawn all the time, bro, and be like, hey, can you tell me where I suck? You know, he will, right?
Yeah, he will.
he will when you don't ask.
Yeah.
But I wanted to know, man. I wanted, like, people aren't vulnerable. They want to make it like they aren't messing up. I'm like, do you know how much gold is in a mistake that you just leave in the ground? Right? Do you own the mistake, or do you blame someone else for the mistake? Then if you own the mistake, are you willing to ask for correction on the mistake? And then if you ask for correction on the mistake, are you willing to receive that correction and then implement it? Or are you too proud?
Yeah, that's huge, man.
No doubt. So there should be questions. Dude, Mike and I still talk most days. Hey, dude, what do you think about this? It's a lot of situational stuff, man. And you're in how many situations a day in this business if you're working? There should be questions all day, every day. You're dealing with agents? Oh my Lord, the questions you'll have. Hey, he complained about this. What would you do? Hey, this guy lost his shit over a $15 lead that didn't have the right phone number. How do you handle that? Hey, this guy's complaining about, the CRM not working, dude. How do you handle that so he doesn't lose his mind? Hey, this guy gets mad when I tell him that he needs to work more. How do you deliver that so he doesn't get mad? Hey, this guy won't get on a training. How do you get people to get on trainings when they don't typically do it, but you don't want to seem like you're micromanaging? You know what I mean? Like, I could go all day, dude. There's no lack of questions. I just think there's lack of the vulnerability and the paying attention to what you're doing every day, and feeling like it's weird to me that people don't see that as part of the process. Think about kids. Any of y'all got kids?
I do. I got 2.
How do kids learn?
Oh man, they nag you with questions.
You ever do that thing like, hey, daddy, why do they call that brown?
Yeah.
Because of this. Well, why? You know what I mean? Like, why are we going to the grocery store? To get food. Why do we need food? Because we got to eat. Why? Because we're going to be hungry. Why? You know what I mean? Like, after 3 whys, dude, you get stuck with a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
Because, you know what I mean? Like, there's just questions all day, every day. And we lose that with time because we don't want to feel whatever. Again, that was not my weak point, was asking questions. I will ask. I don't give a rip because I want information, dude.
Yeah. Dude, that makes sense. One last question before I open it up to the managers first for questions. On the building side, what would you say to someone who's just starting out and they're working with 2 or 3 people on their team and they're really trying to grow, or they're stuck? What would you say to that person? It's
very similar to the sales side, and that if you're working at 1, 2 to 3 are not going to change your world ever. And like, there's only so much you can be to any one person, right? So after a minute, like, your job is to really teach people what you do to promote really well. You know what I mean? Allow the system, quote unquote, to play its role. If you're brand new, dude, utilize someone that's great at this to help you. Don't try to hatch your own people. If you suck at this, you shouldn't be training at it. You can recruit, but you got to get really good at promoting and edifying other people that are really good and take people along for the ride with you. You don't have to be the man. You know, I'm all about Matt Smith training my guys. Ain't nothing better than that, bro. You know what I mean? Get me on a Mark Mead training. Let him train them. Let Killmet train them. I'm all about it. So the best promoters tend to do the best. The ones that want to keep people in a corner and hatch them tend to do the worst. And, you know, make it about the agent, man. You know, if you're trying to build this thing for an override, I promise it's going to suck and you're never going to build. I tried it. It don't work. But when it became about truly trying to find out where people were at in life, where they wanted to go, navigating what they were willing to sacrifice based on building a relationship with people. And you don't have to become their best friend day one, but how do you help someone? No different than how do you help a client if you don't ask questions?
Yeah.
You got to shove it down their throat on all the reasons why they need insurance, or you're going to ask really good questions, identify a problem, and then provide a solution. Right? That's people, dude. And they got to like and trust you, or they ain't buying even if you provide a solution. So if I'm trying to work with you, man, I got to get you to like and trust me. I got to get you to believe in what we're doing. I got to understand you, your problems, what you're trying to accomplish, where you're trying to go. And then I need to provide a solution to you. In order to provide a solution, dude, I have to know a lot. And I can't do that in 3 minutes. And I see far too many people, man, trying to throw stuff against the wall and hope it sticks. And getting frustrated with agents. You know, again, a lot of y'all said you got kids. Imagine getting frustrated with your kids every time they crap their pants when they're babies. Or they can't go to the fridge and get their own food. You know what I'm saying? Or they can't color within the lines. Or they don't know 7 times 4. You know what I'm saying? Or they kick a kickball with the wrong foot. Imagine we got pissed at all that stuff. Be like, I don't know if that's the way to parent. You know what I mean? Why would that be any different if you're trying to help someone in their career, change the lives of their family and their children? Who are you to get frustrated? Now, be clear. I was the most frustrated guy in the company at agents, but I had to teach myself this, dude. If the agents were amazing at everything, what the hell would they need me for? So I started taking that seriously, man, and slowing down and giving people guidance. Now there's a balance, right? Because if you ain't willing to put in the work, I started telling people, man, I promise I'll quit you before you quit me. Because I'm going out and finding motivated people. I ain't trying to motivate nobody, bro. You know, so there is a balance to it. But it's our job to help people, man, and help them to whatever capacity you can help them. And then connect them with other people who can help them more until you become that more. And you can never be everything to everybody. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm all about pushing people towards other stuff, meetings, conventions, you know what I'm saying? And just slowing down and helping people, man.
It's just very obvious, you know, you don't insert your ego into your business. It's just about helping your agents when you're in the field, helping your clients, and just pushing people toward where they're trying to go. Dude, that is so phenomenal, man. I'm going to watch this recording over and over and over again, dude. This is incredible. John, I want to be respectful of your time, bro. Super grateful.
Yeah, I got time.
This, man. I want to open any questions up to our managers first. We've got a few on here that are just most within that, 50 families to 200 families a month type deal. If there's any managers that have questions, why don't you guys unmute yourself and go ahead and fire away?
Hey, I'll ask something. I remember when I started out, I asked you a question on one of my first ever calls, and you shot so straight with me, bro. I'm like, oh my goodness, is this how they do things around here? No,
I don't remember what I said.
No, you were like walking into like a CVS or something, and I won't go into the whole thing, but I basically just was asking about schedule, and you gave it to me straight. You did what you did today, man. It was awesome. I think my big thing now, growing a team, and we have so many fresh people coming in now on a weekly basis, which is so awesome to see.
Yeah.
I think for me, my big thing right now in the phase I'm in is when you're bringing somebody in, I know you've covered a lot of this today, but at what point we talk about the 80-20 rule, giving 80% of your time to the 20% of people that are actually really chasing after it. At what point do you part ways with someone if you realize you're wanting it for them more than they want it for themselves? And when that time comes, what does that, for lack of a better term, breakup look like?
Yeah. So what size team you got? How many agents you got selling now?
Active, we've got 25 full-time by FFL definitions. We've got about 15.
About 20 something issue a policy every month.
Correct. Yes, sir.
So got a couple $100,000, whatever it is. Cool. Do you sell a bunch?
I sell less than I did when all I was doing was selling. I cut my production down to about 20 to 30 issued every month, but I'm still out there. I'm still hitting the field just to stay sharp.
Okay, cool. When it comes to like objections, right? We can teach how to overcome them. What's the actual answer? What's the best thing to do?
Ask me that question again. What are you saying? Like, what's the best thing to do?
When is it like, say, I want to think about it. I'm sure you could tell me how to overcome it.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
What's better than overcoming it?
What's better than overcoming the objection?
Yep. Preventing it, right?
I was overthinking your question.
Correct. Most people do. It's an easy one.
Sure.
Right. And again, that's people, right? It's not dealing with the frustration in the first place. And how do we prevent it in the house? Rough concept.
Mm-hmm. So how do we?
Yeah, we set expectations,
right?
And we ask really good questions, right? And we get them to tell us this, whatever the deal is.
Sure.
And if we can use their words against them, for them, however you want to word it, we tend to not get that, right? And if they fight with us too much, we can just leave. Why? Because we're seeing enough people.
Sure.
That we're not gonna squat in their house and make them kick us out an hour and a half later. So with the recruiting dude, it's super similar. I don't have to have a breakup conversation if I do it correctly. They just go away, bro. If I set the right expectations, right? Who I am, how this is going to work, what I'm looking for, what they're looking for. I ask the right questions. I understand them. I understand where they're at, where they want to go, what they're willing to sacrifice, the things they're willing to do to achieve A, B, and C. If I understand all that stuff, right? And they commit, I'm willing to do whatever. You know how many people tell me they're willing to do whatever it takes, bro, on a weekly basis? It makes me sick. It's that many. It's a lot. And then I go, cool. So my theory is understand them, ask really good questions, and then come up with a game plan. But I don't give them the whole game plan day one. I'm a big fan of going, hey, do this and get back to me. Hey, do this and get back to me. Does that make sense? Hey, go buy these leads in the CRM and call me back. Hey, go watch this training with Paul McLean and call me back. Hey, go run your appointment at 8 a.m. tomorrow and call me after. Hey, get on the Zoom with John and then call me after. Give me 3 things you learned. Hey, get on the TNL on Friday with whoever and call me after and let me know 3 things you learned. Watch this video on this. Call me back. Let me know what you could change. Hey, go do the contracting and shoot me a text when you're done with it. Does that make sense? All of these things, I put the responsibility of communication on them. All I'm doing is game planning, dude, based on their words. So now if you come to me, Tyler, and you're like, this sucks, blah, blah, blah. I'd be like, hey, bro, dude, remember that conversation where you told me you're willing to do whatever it takes? Yep. Bro, I happen to notice you haven't been on the last 3 Zoom meetings. You ran 7 appointments last week, and you didn't call me like you said you would after each appointment. Dude, you ain't running the play. Like if we put this to football and Tom Brady didn't show up to the pregame plan, you know what I'm saying? He didn't show up, and I could use analogies and go, what would happen there? Or you work at Costco, bro, and they had a cash register training for the day, and you didn't show up. Would you be confused that you don't know how to use the cash register?
Wow.
No.
So can I ask you a follow-up just real quick?
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
Do you track that, or do you leave it 100% to the agent? You see that phone ring, you go, all right, what's it going to be? And then they remind you, hey, you told me to call you after this.
Yeah.
So are you tracking, like set a reminder to follow up, or like, no, that's not on me. They have to reach out to me.
No, I don't follow up, bro. Now, you might get, and I'm so in tune with who I'm doing that with. I've done this for 10 years like this.
Sure.
This is not like a concept I rolled out of bed one. I just learned it worked because I couldn't keep up with everything. I couldn't keep up with everyone. I couldn't chase everyone down. And I've learned the percentage of people that do the shit they say they're going to do is very small. So if I get someone to tell me the things they're going to do, and then they don't do it, the likelihood of them calling me and complaining about anything is like almost zero. Does that make sense? So I don't have to have that conversation. They just disappear. Now, if I like you, I might shoot a text, especially the first time. I'm like, hey, Tyler, dude, I got a call tonight at 6. I'm going to have Mike Killimet on. Dude, he's been my mentor for like 10 years. Dude, he's a machine. I know you have a question about warm market recruiting. Great question. Dude, Killimet's training on that tonight at 6. Dude, is there any reason you can't get on a call at 6?
Yeah, I can be there at 6.
Cool. Can you do me a favor? Killimet's like he pays attention to everything, dude. You know, one of the things he watches is who gets on the call early and who gets on at like 6:01. Can you be on like 5 minutes early?
Yeah, I can make that happen.
Cool. Hey, he does a Q&A at the end. He's going to give you some great stuff. Can you have like a question or two ready? So when he asks a question, can you have a question ready for him?
Yeah, for sure.
Dude, by 6:30, bro, I know if you're going to do the stuff you say you're going to do.
Dang, bro. That's good.
Now, if you don't get on day one at the beginning, I'm like, hey, bro, what's up? You might get one of those. Hey, dude, you good? Hey, did you lose the link? Hey, you good? I'm there. But, dude, you ain't getting 40 of those from me. You know what I'm saying? I'm all about checking in. But if you continuously don't do the things you say you're going to do, I'm tapping out, bro. I'm going to find someone who does the things they say they're going to do. And I got so good at asking questions like that banter we just did. You just committed to 4 things in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I do it so often that I honestly don't have to track it, dude. I just don't, because I'm so in tune with the direction I'm giving, because I don't give canned answers. I know what you need in the conversations we're having. And for me, dude, I'm really paying attention to who stands out. That's my biggest identifier. If I take everyone in this room and I start having conversations with everyone, right at the beginning, I'm going to be swamped. It'd take me 2 hours to have conversations with everyone in this room right now. But after about 3 days, I bet there'd only be 3 people I'd still be talking to. Because I give so many things for people to do that they won't do. And their job, hey, when you're done, call me back. Hey, when you're done, let me know. And when you're done, shoot me a text. And when you're done, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And those fall off, man. And I just start paying attention to the people who stand out from the crowd. They just do more. They do the things they say they're going to do. They're coachable. They don't complain. They just stand out from the average person. I identify those and I go, hey, come over here. Hey, bro, come here. And I dive into those more. Now you got 2 agents, dude. No one stands out, bro. You got to help everybody. You know what I'm saying? And you can't do this with 3 people. It doesn't work. It's no different than I can't be as assumptive and direct in a home when I have 3 appointments. It doesn't work because you get kicked out of all 3 and then you go home with no money.
Right.
But if I'm talking to 30 a week and I have a track record of selling, they tend to buy in more. 5 Levels of Leadership. Y'all ever read that? John Maxwell. 5 Levels of Leadership. If you haven't read it, it's a phenomenal book on how people perceive you. You know what I'm saying? And level 1, dude, at the beginning, people look at you level 1, they just don't give a shit. But with time, you start doing some things, people look at you different. They take your words differently. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, so yeah, there is, again, if you need to track it, man. Write it down, get a notepad, do whatever. Again, I've done it so many times, and I'm sure I've forgotten things and messed it up along the way, but that doesn't bother me at all. You know, and there's people sitting in my office next door. Literally, I have 2 buildings. I own this building and one next door. There's people sitting in that building who've been with me for 4 years in this building that I've given stuff to do 2, 3, 4, 5 months ago. Still ain't done it. They're 22 feet away from me. And I just wait. And I can tell you everyone in that building next door, I can tell you every one of them what I'm waiting on. what step I get them to do. I'm so in tune with, you know what I mean? I pay attention to my business 24/7, dude. If I take notes, it's just notepad on my phone. I take a ton of notes. I have like notepad's my friend. I'm like a notepad junkie. I just have like notes galore. You know what I mean? All different topics, subjects, people, whatever. Questions to ask Shawn, questions to ask Mike, trainings I'm doing, things I need to promote, people I want to talk to, staff meeting. So if I did that, what you're saying, it'd be a notepad for me. I'm super simple. But I always joke, dude, you can use a crayon and some napkins and it'll work just the same. Don't overcomplicate it.
Yeah.
You know, I used to draw out my team a lot at your stage too. So I would draw, you know how to draw out your team?
Mm-hmm. Like the tree, you mean? Like the down?
Yeah. So I used to draw it out, put names in it, and I would pay attention to who I had to call in depth with, you know what I mean? I'm looking at it I just draw out my team like on the regular, like almost daily, and just map it out, look at it, make calls, check in with people, treat everybody like they're direct, you know, until you got someone that can handle it on their own. I just treated everybody like they were direct, man. Check in. Hey, can I help? You know what I mean? Where you at? What are we doing? Give direction. They either do it or they don't, bro. And I'm talking to enough people, and I can get all y'all recruiting people pretty easily. I'm treating them like direct. I'm taking on that burden, especially at your stage. You know what I'm saying? Where I want conversations.
Yeah.
Because I know I can influence it differently, you know, and then help other people see things they're missing. So long answer. It's kind of
awesome. Super helpful. I appreciate it. That's so good. I have agents now who are just starting to build a team, and they're at that phase 1, 2, 3 agents where every day, hey, how's it going? What can I help you with? And you can do that. I think for me, what happened is as we grew so quickly the last few months, I tried to maintain that same relationship.
It's hard.
It's super, super difficult. And that's why I asked that question. Is that
start giving people things to do.
Yeah.
You shouldn't end a phone call without giving someone something to do and put the burden of them communicating back with you on them. You start doing that and give little incremental, small, based on where they're at. Everybody's going to be different. Just like every in-home is different. You know what I mean? Structure is the same, but the conversation is very different, appointment to appointment.
Right.
So just based on that person and where they're trying to go, ask good questions, get them to commit to something. And that's a way to push people. I mean, I can level you up by asking you questions. You know what I'm saying? I can build a story. I can build urgency. I can challenge. I can do all kinds of things through questions. And same as everything else, dude, you do a ton of it, you get really good at it. I just got really good at asking questions because I got sick of people wasting my time. You know what I'm saying? So I had to get so good at asking questions that they walk themselves into the corner I want them to walk themselves into. And I can do it. And again, I'm sure we didn't talk that long before I gave you that answer that time. I can't imagine it was a crazy long conversation.
Nope.
Probably a handful of conversations and said, here you go.
No, that's awesome, John. I appreciate it. That was pure gold, man. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey guys, we got to run, John. I appreciate you, bro. This has been incredible. We'll post this recording, everyone. So make sure you go back and watch this over and over and over again. John, again, thanks, dude. And if we can ever do anything for you, man, holler at us.
I appreciate it, brother. I will.
All right, bro. Take care.